welcome to Edge Focus, everyone, and this is just a very quick system overview before we get into everything. So I'm sure everyone's seen these slides before, but if you haven't, it's just another little quick recap. So shoppers come to the website, and from there we have a script on your website. So when we onboard you, we would have put a script onto every page that's there. And what we're doing from there is we're capturing data for every page that is visited. That data is products browsed, the products that have been put in the cart, and the ones that have been purchased. From there, what we can do is we can personalize emails and websites. We can do triggered emails, which we'll be covering a little bit today. And then finally, we can do some segments, which is where we can analyze some customers, as well as do some fancy triggers as well. Any questions for anyone before we get into things? I'm going to take silence as golden, so I'm going to guess that's a no. So a very quick overview again of triggered emails from your ESP and how they all work. So we start out with the main email content and subject lines that are set up within your ESP. So all this stuff comes from outside of Fresh with what your various ESPs are. We then have the cart layout code that will be passed over to your ESP from Fresh with the abandoned, purchased, or purchased products, and that content is then injected into your ESP. We then can also map variables into your ESP to personalize text, such as the subject line. And then finally, we can personalize with additional content if you have the email personalization module at Fresh. If that's of interest, have a chat with your account manager and they can sort them out for you. Any questions?
No.
Awesome. So on to some stuff on advanced testing and optimization. What comes as part of advanced testing and optimization as opposed to the sort of basic set that comes with Fresh? So Optimize Center will be the exact same, and from there you can control everything to do with optimizing. You can see your A/B test results, and you can see it's almost like a massive portal for everything. You'll also have your A/B tests, but what you can also do with the advanced testing and optimization module is you can automatically end those tests at a set date. So you can put a date on for it to end, and then you can go in and have a look at your results. You can then also do the automatic optimization of individual pieces of content across the entire customer experience and across multiple channels. And what that is called is the multi-arm bandit, and it is quite a beast. What we can do is we can choose variables that we want to test, and then the system does all the magic for us based on the end result that we want. So there are a few that are available right now. When we go into the system, we can have a look at what they are. And essentially what it does is it will test all of them on an evil level to begin with. And then as one becomes to be a winner, it will then push that one to the top while still testing the other ones and then making sure that nothing else then becomes a winner. And then that will start to push that one to the top if it then takes over. Very cool stuff. And I've definitely undersold it there because it is a brilliant bit of kit. Then finally, we have the Google Analytics integration. So what we can do there is we can bring all of the stuff across Google Analytics, and all of the testing and optimization can be seen from there. Any questions at all with anything? No. So if this is of interest to you and you don't have the module, then have a chat with your account manager and they can set you up with this. So we got some basic optimizations that we can look at to begin with, and what we can look to do and optimizing in Fresh with our triggered emails. So I've done it on a simple 1, 2, 3 basis for the first two, and then the last one, which is the advanced ones, I've got a 1, 2 step. At the end, I'm going to see if anyone's sort of interested in sort of integrating these as part of what they're doing in Fresh. So to begin with, we've got the look and feel. So what we're going to be doing here is testing different content, different images, different text, different sizes and color. So what we can do is we can set up multiple trigger programs in Fresh, and then what we can do is then test them and see what's most effective with the look and feel of things. Any ideas or any questions that come up from that? No. G, any added points? No.
Nothing at that point, mate.
Wicked. Then next up, we've got the wait times. So a lot of people ask us, what is the best wait time to do? And really, we never really 100% know. We got some basic ideas from things we've seen in the past, but it really depends on who your customers are. So what we can do is we can, again, set up multiple different campaigns, a lot of different trigger programs, and then we can test and see what the best wait times are across both the first stage and if you're doing a multiple stage, seeing what those best wait times there are. Any questions on that? Nope. And then finally, the number of stages again. So we often get asked, what is the best number of stages? Because we've got a lot of options. So we could do a single stage, a 2-stage, a 3-stage, and a 4-stage, where basically if no one's interacted with the email and bought something off of an abandonment email, we'll then go ahead and send another stage. And so we can start testing again, what's the most effective route to take, whether it's a 2-stage, whether it's a 3-stage, and also whether displaying some content maybe on the 3rd or 4th stage with maybe a little coupon or a little discount. Maybe that's the thing that will push a customer over the edge to get a purchase. Any ideas or any questions? No. Can I ask if people would be interested in sort of implementing any of this stuff into their ways they're using the triggers?
I think number of stages is one I'm interested to look at, because the person who's in the role before me, they've set up some triggers, but it seems to just be one email, and I'm kind of want some follow up to that. Like if they've not opened it, send them this. If then maybe like 2-3 emails down the line, a discount code. But I think it'd be good to kind of see like what's the optimum amount to send, and then also in our retention emails we send, if you fall into like a lapsed customer, we split them into 2 segments at the minute. So I think 30% of them get no email and 70% get an email saying, we miss you, here's 10% off. But again, no follow up. And I'm thinking, should we have a third one where they get an email but there's no discount code on it? So I think there's something between like look and feel and number of stages that it will definitely be interesting for us to use.
Yeah, definitely. So we could definitely look at how we could set that up for you and get some different tests going on that. It's a really, really good use case. And I think for me, thinking from a consumer's perspective, if I'm seeing on a 3rd abandonment email a little discount code, I'm thinking maybe I might then go and make a purchase. No one's ever going to complain with some money off.
Yeah, but in my mind, I'm thinking, did they just need a prompt and that's enough for them to go, oh yeah, I was looking at that the other day? Whereas we're just rushing in and saying, here's 10% off. So I'm kind of interested to see how that might work.
So yeah, we could set up a test maybe and then do maybe 50-50, see if there is any difference in having a discount code or not, or whether it was just that prompt that brought them over the edge.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Cool.
That's a really good point, Lindsay. We were talking about that earlier this morning, actually, about whether it's necessary to use a coupon in all instances, and whether you can test that, or whether you could use, for example, something that plays to your audience's crowd, whether it's sustainability credentials or free deliveries or reviews, etc. Anything that you can highlight around those kind of key points in a buyer's journey, just to reassure them and see which one will give them the nudge further down the purchasing journey.
Yeah, because when I've been looking at it, I'm also conscious of not leaving the discount code maybe too late to the point where they're like, oh, you've already emailed me 3 times, I'm not even going to open it. So I think it's kind of trying to find that sweet spot of they're still opening them, but they maybe have not made that purchase yet. So then the voucher code comes in.
You could also do a time-based voucher code if you have that facility, so that the code is usable within the next 7 days, for example. So that you've still got that sense of urgency that, oh, I've got an offer, then I need to use it now. It was something I wanted to buy, therefore that could, it's worth testing. That could be another thing to try.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Any ideas from you, Chris or Sarah Van?
Yeah, I mean, for us, the look and feel and number of stages is definitely the bits that we'd be looking at. Look and feel, because we have several different product categories. It's one thing that's been on the top of our list of, rather than just sending a generic email every time, is changing it up depending on what's been left in the cart or what they've left at the point of browse abandonment. And how many stages, like Lindsay was saying, when's that sweet spot to hit them? At the moment, most of our email flows are 1 or 2 stages. And I think it's whether we can push it to that sort of 3 or 4 and still get the most out of our customers without irritating them.
Yeah, so maybe looking at sort of testing a 2 against a 3, for example, and then see what we want to put on the 3rd. Anything from you, Sarah Van? Any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I sort of agree with that as well. I mean, we're kind of looking at the moment is because it's primarily schools and colleges sort of buying from our website. We being able to use sort of cross sell and upsell within our emails, because I think that will kind of sort of give them more options and kind of give them that nudge to kind of show this is the product and these are all other products related to the product they're already viewing. So again, helping sort of increasing the average order value, but also showing them products that they might not have been aware of. So that's another way we kind of looking at including that feature within sort of browser and basket abandonment emails. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So there are some of our basic optimizations, sort of the stuff that's a lot easier to set up just by using multiple different trigger programs and getting different ones set up and getting different ones layered on. And we'll go into the system a bit later and we'll show you how to do that. And then we're getting on to some next level optimizations. So some that are a little bit more advanced, but still some really, really great ideas to be using. So the first one I'm going to touch on is product recommendations. So make some suggestions on your abandonment emails to bring your customers back on site, get them back on with some really, really tailored recommendations, as you're mentioning, Sarah Van, there. So I don't know if any of you or if all of you have the email personalization module. I'm trying to remember from previous interactions.
I don't think we do, but we've been using smart blocks in replacement for that.
Yeah, so you've been using, I think you got, is it web personalization you've got?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe later on down the line something about email personalization, getting some fresh recommendations in there would be great. Lindsay, Sarah Van.
Yeah, I think we use them quite a lot, to be honest. I think where I struggle with this is because we sell medication for animals, we can't actually promote them, so we have to take a lot of them out. So
yeah,
it limits the range of things we can put in it. But yeah, we are using that.
Brilliant. And then Sarah Van?
Yeah, so we are also using smart blocks at the moment. I myself haven't used any of the tools or features yet within Fresh Relevance, but it's we're looking at kind of using coming up with dynamic content. So based on whether the email address which is being captured, we can be able to personalize content and provide recommended products to that particular sort of, user based on what their previous browsing behavior was like. So yeah, but I'm hoping to kind of use it more extensively and kind of get up to speed to it once in the coming weeks. So yeah.
Wicked, yeah. I mean, what I'm thinking with product recommendations, and not necessarily just fresh ones, we could add some other ones in there that maybe aren't as tailored, but I mean, putting in some extra deals in there, extra products will also sort of add some attraction, add some extra revenue for yourselves as well. We also got some banners. So people often discount banners and think that they're not too useful. However, what we could do is maybe add some personalization to that banner. I love it when I can see my name on a banner in an email and think, wow, someone's actually made that email for me, when they definitely haven't, but it sort of adds a bit of personalization to it. We can also tailor it as well, so we can maybe set up multiple trigger programs as well with different content on banners. So for example, if we're looking at you, Chris, for example, we're seeing people browsing a lot of single beds. Maybe let's put a banner with some single beds in there, for example. Or if someone's browsing the big king beds, then having that related as well. So it's sort of trying to personalize it a little bit more to what our customers are looking at and make them think, oh, they've actually thought about what I've got, and then the email's more related to them. Any ideas? Anyone going to be thinking about implementing some of these next level personalizations into their triggered emails?
My only worry with this is because we don't use the integrated Fresh Relevance email suite. We use ESP. Are you still able to use these?
Yeah, so what we could maybe do then is set up the templates within your ESP and then set up multiple different trigger campaigns. So we can then set up maybe one for single, one for double, one for king, one for super king, for example, and then continue to personalize it through that. So it's still possible for you to do all this.
Cool, that's good to know.
Then Lindsay, Sarah Allen, any ideas on these next level ones that we're looking at?
Yeah, I think, like I say, replenishment and retention would probably be the main ones, just kind of using it in the subject lines and the banners. And then we're using product recommendations at the minute anyway, but I think we could probably be using them a bit better rather than just throwing them in every email. Like, you looked at this, do you want to look again, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sarah?
Yeah, so we're looking to kind of use product recommendations across both on the sort of web journey, so whilst on the website, and also on the emails. So all based again what on the previously purchased or what the previous pages or series that they've viewed, and what we're looking to do is kind of identify when a returning customer belongs to, say, a school, and then show them tailored messaging based on that. So such on a particular product's price, and then having a tag to say discount code for you. So something along those lines would work well.
Nice. Yeah. Do you personalize, for example, with the school name even?
Not at the moment. I mean, we do have a list of schools that buy from us, but that's kind of held on a separate system. So we're kind of looking to kind of integrate that with Fresh Relevance, but still, I think early stages. So it's something that we're kind of hoping to sort of work and get up, join the two systems together and get them working soon. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great as well for you. Sort of personalising it to the consumer as well. G, anything to add?
Well, I was just going to say, actually, I'd imagine in those kind of in that education sector, you might have, for example, a teacher that might be a maths teacher, for example, and only looking at maths textbooks. So you could build up quite a profile based on their browsing and carting behavior, and build personalized recs based on, this is a maths teacher, or this is geography, etc. So there's lots of personalization that you could build out to help you grow your audience and send them the right messaging to increase conversions.
Yeah. I think that would work well, based around what they've previously viewed and purchased. But again, we have a range of different maths products or literacy products, science products. It's just that they're not competing against one another. It's just based on what the curriculum and syllabus that the teacher is currently following. So just making it as personalized and relevant to that particular user.
Wicked. And then finally, we got some advanced optimizations. Now, don't be scared by them. They're still easy to do, but there are a couple here that I wanted to really highlight. First of all, is the fixed delay wait times. Now, it depends on the kind of business you are. So for people that are business to business, or the people that are business to consumer, they can differ. So the people that are business to business, we find that it's most important to be communicating to your customers probably during the working day. There's no point emailing at probably 7 o'clock in the evening, and then it will then have overnight where it's going to be sitting in the inbox and it might be missed. So we could put some fixed delays on there. So if you're business to business, we can then have it implemented so that it goes out at 9 a.m. fresh. It's going to be right at the top of their inbox in the morning. And for people that are business to consumer, again, it's the same logic, but the reverse. So it's probably not really worth having it going out during the working day when people probably won't have access to the emails. So we can set up a delay on there, so it will go out when they're maybe home in the evening. We can look at that, and we can personalize it so that it goes out probably at 7 o'clock, maybe when people have more of a chance of seeing their emails. Any ideas on that? Anyone like the idea of maybe using this?
Yeah, we've definitely discussed about timings, because I think some of ours go out just at really random times in the afternoon, but we are B2C. So I've kind of, in my mind, I think we should be sending them early in the morning, so that when people are getting up, checking the phones before they go to work and stuff, they're seeing them, and then maybe testing that against later on in the evening, like after work. So yeah, I think that'd work for us.
Definitely. And then Chris, Sarah Vannon.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us it's the same as Lindsay. Again, we're D2C, so we tend to send a lot of emails, particularly at weekends. It's looking at what else we can do in the time of day, because sometimes we just send an email and just out it goes, and there's no real thought into when it's going.
I mean, do you see any particular time when you have a lot of purchases? I'm thinking with it being beds, maybe either really late at night when someone's getting into an uncomfy bed, or really early in the morning when someone's had not a great night's sleep in the bed, that it might be most effective to send out that email.
Yeah, we do get that. We also tend to see a lot sort of early morning before the school run, and it tends to sort of die a death a little bit throughout most of the day, sort of leading up to lunchtime. And then we start seeing pick up again once people are home from work.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then Savannah, I think you're probably a bit more business to business with it being schools.
Yeah. So yeah, primarily sort of schools, colleges, higher education institutions. So yeah, mainly it's, at the moment it's the emails are sent sort of within sort of 24, 40 hours, I believe. But from when the items were abandoned in the basket. So I mean, we're trying to sort of send out emails within, or the plan is to kind of send it during the sort of the school hours, really. Yeah.
Brilliant. G, anything to add?
Well, I think we've got a kind of a cross section of different customer bases there. I think be led by the data of your customers, I think, is the strongest example I could recommend. So look back over the last 3 months worth of send data, open data, click-through data, and see when your customers are interacting with your brand, and then you can test those data points with Fresh. So you can put these kind of timing tests and see if you do. I mean, I think working patterns, particularly in the B2C crowd, has obviously flexed a lot. People may be checking lunchtimes more, maybe checking at random points throughout the day, and you may be you may notice those kind of trends as people adapt to this kind of hybrid work environment. So it's all things that can be measured and tested. We can help you with.
Brilliant. And then finally, you've got cart layout optimization. And so this is how the product will look in that abandoned email, and sort of testing different things, such as the size of the image and the call to action button. We've had a lot of debate internally about the call to action button and what we should put on the text, whether it should be buy now, add to basket, have a look, things like that. And so it'll be interesting to see sort of people testing it and seeing if the wording of it makes a big difference or not. And then also the size of the images. I think sometimes bigger images sort of can work better, but then sometimes having little images which sort of tease a little bit more can also work. So I think advanced optimizations, we got a few ideas going of what could be implemented as well. And then there is a blog as well which I'll send around after the session, which has all of this in a bit more detail. And then also I'll send off some links of how you can implement some of this stuff. So any sort of final thoughts on advanced optimizations? Anyone wanting to implement any of this?
I think cart layout optimization would be a good one for us as well, because I just think everything in our emails is absolutely massive. But like, people kind of just like to keep it the way it is, but I would be keen to test things a little bit smaller.
Being a trendsetter, I like it.
I just think it looks a bit cleaner, but I'm happy to be proven wrong if we can test it.
Yeah, I mean, setting up a test for that would be brilliant. And then you can improve it with the numbers and with the data.
I think it's the kind of stuff we sell. It doesn't need a massive. It's not like clothing where you might want to see it a bit up close. It's medication and it's dog food. You know what it looks like. So
yeah, I mean, it doesn't particularly appetizing to the human eye, I don't think. But knowing that your dog's getting the best stuff as well is going to be the best thing.
I think another thing that could work to that, Lindsay, is the device that they're viewing it on.
Yeah, true.
So when you are testing the kind of, in particular, the cart layouts, you could review, whether they're viewing on mobiles, iPads, etc., and see if the sizing is affecting the click-through rate, and that could be something that you could test as well.
Fab. I don't know whether this is part of that, but one thing I find strange that they used to do with emails before I started is they don't show the price on anything. Whereas anywhere I've ever worked before, we've always shown the price, because obviously we're trying to sell them something. So I don't know if that is something that I can work into this as like a test, maybe like show some the price, show some not.
Yeah. So what we could do then is it'll be same concept that I've said all about today. It's going to be setting up 2 different trigger programs, having one with price, one without price, and then you can probably name them with price, without price, and then test that out against each other.
Cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of different things we could do. Awesome. So I believe that brings me to the end of my deck. So now it's time to just hop into the platform and we can look through a couple of things about optimizations. Some of the demo store now, don't be warned, there will be a lot of different things in here because it's a demo environment. It's a completely fake store that we have set up for demoing purposes. So just to highlight a couple of things that we always like to do, question marks at the top, have a look on them and it will say what page you're on and we'll link to relevant text. And then next to that, we've got the video icons with a load of different videos. These are going to be revamped very, very soon. It's sort of our big team project over the next couple of quarters to get these completely revamped and up to date again. Finally, we've got also the support team contact details. If you're ever under a bit of a stumbling block, get in touch with them and they'll be back to you with some responses. They're a great team. And they have definitely answered a lot of questions from me. And also, I don't think G will be afraid to say him as well. So they're a great team, and they always sort of fight to give the best answers as well. So yeah, always get in touch with them if you need to help. So I'm going to jump over to the triggers section of the platform, and we're going to have a little look at some optimizations. So we've got a very basic cart abandon setup here. I'm going to drag that one out and then look at the trigger programs that are pre-set up. You probably will see a lot here. There's not going to be this many in your account. This is where a lot of people have set up various ones across periods of time. To create a new one, we go here and then press on create. And then we're left with a few options. So we can do either a 1, 2, 3, or 4 stage cart abandon. And this is where we can do some different testing. So I think on this one, what I'll do is I'm going to create a 1 stage to begin with. And then I'm going to test that maybe against a 2 stage, for example. So we got a 1 stage, and I'm going to give it a name. And then this is where we have the wait time. So this is a minimum of 15 minutes as default. However, we can then change it if you get in touch with the support. We can change it how we don't recommend you do. So I believe on this account it is 15 minutes. We've seen somewhere there as low as 2. Yeah, it's sort of generally what you want, but we recommend keeping it to 15 minutes or more, just because you're never sure if someone's just gone away to make a cuppa or something like that. We then have the action channel. This is where it's going to be going to. So on this one, I'm just going to keep it on the default channel. However, you'll know which your ESP is and where it goes to. Then we have our send message optional. So what we have here is the email that's going to get sent out that you've pre-built within your ESP. So I want to say that I've built email 12345. That will be the ideal, the ID even 12345. And then we have the cart layout as mentioned. There are a load of different templates that people have built. I'll signpost to where you build a new one and then it will come up here. But we're going to go with the default one for now. Cart layouts do require a bit of coding and getting that to make it look how you want it to. So if you need some help with that, have a chat with our professional services team and they'll be able to get you up and running with that at a cost. We then have a couple of options down here that are sort of things that you don't really need to know about unless you want to do some stuff. So we've got the pause option where we can basically just stop the trigger program in its tracks. We've then got the catch-all where we can stop the thing coming out to customers. However, we can keep having a look at the stuff. So it'll basically keep running the program and it will all filter to an email address provided here. And then finally, we've got BCC here where we can basically keep an eye on what's going out. It's still going out to customers, but we can keep an eye on what's happening with the different emails. And then everything else is stuff that is sort of, it's there, but unless support says anything, it's nothing to really worry about. So I'm going to go ahead and press save now. And that is saved. So I'm going to go back onto triggers. And then I'm going to drag that in as a trigger program. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one that's pre-made to test it against. So for example, I've got this 2-stage using full ESP here, for example. And as you can see, it automatically brings up a split test. Now to change that, what we can do is we can click just in the middle here and it will bring up the testing options. And we've got 2 options here. We've got a standard split test, which it can work better for sort of the shorter term ones, where you want to have a look at something over 7 days, for example, and then go ahead and make your decision. Or we got the multi-arm bandit, which I'm going to be covering a lot more today. Just on A/B testing, we can then change the numbers on here. So if we're seeing that, for example, there's 2 stages working better, we can then make it go a bit more. So we go to 80%, for example. And then because I've got the advanced testing and optimization module on here, I can end it on a specific date. So I can say, for example, let's end it on the 25th of May, and it will stop the test. And then you just press save up the top when it's ready. Then we got the multi-arm bandit option up here. And what we can do is we can set the goal. So this is the really, really cool piece of kit that I've been on about this morning. And if you ask any of the customer success team, we can't shut up about it. It's so cool. So we got the end goal here. So we got the 2 variables here, which is the single stage and the multi-stage. We can then set the goal, and it will basically be to increase conversion, increase average order value, or increase site visits. There are more that are going to be in the pipeline and going to be generated along. However, these are the ones for now that are there. So I'm thinking for this one, I'm going to go for increasing the average order value. That's all around the revenue, getting things up to scratch, and then I'm going to press save, and that's going to be running. So it's really, really simple to set it up. The big one is just to get multiple trigger programs made with all the different variables that you want to be testing, and then going ahead and doing them.